I'm 70. And if you're dreaming of retiring in Singapore, the one thing I'm begging you not to underestimate is the humidity, because I fought it, it beat me, and today I'll show you exactly what to do instead. But before I get into all of it, it would really mean a lot if you'd subscribe to the channel and leave a like. It honestly makes my day out here on the porch. Now let me take you back to my very first morning here. I was staying in a little place near Tiong Bahru, one of those old shop house rows, quiet and green. I stepped out the door at 8 in the morning, coffee still warm in my hand, feeling pretty good about myself. 2 minutes. That's all it took. 2 minutes down the sidewalk and my shirt was stuck flat to my back, soaked. I hadn't done anything but walk to the corner, and here's the thing, I thought I was ready, I really did. I spent years in Arizona summers, the kind where the thermometer hits 110 and the air feels like an open oven. I figured I'd earned my heat stripes. I figured Singapore would be more of the same. I was wrong. Flat wrong, because this heat is a different animal. Arizona heat is dry and sharp. It bites you, but it lets you breathe. This is soft and heavy. It doesn't bite, it wraps. The best way I can describe it, the picture that stuck with me from that first week, is that it's like walking through a warm, wet towel. The air just hangs on you. It doesn't move out of your way. You ever step off a plane and feel the air just wrap around you? That thick, close feeling before you've even reached the terminal? That's the feeling I'm talking about, except back home the plane feeling goes away once you get to the car. Here, it doesn't go away. It's just Tuesday. It's just the morning. It's the air you live in. And I'll be honest with you about the mistake I made, because I think a lot of us would make the very same one. I fought it. I treated that first week like I had something to prove. I ran my errands at high noon, right when the sun was straight overhead and the heat was shimmering up off the pavement. I'd walk the long way to the market because, hey, I always liked a good walk. I'd carry the groceries home the slow way, no cab, no train, powering through like a man 30 years younger. Tough it out, I told myself, you've been in worse. But here's what nobody tells you. For an older body, this kind of wet heat doesn't just make you uncomfortable, it quietly drains the tank. You're losing water and salt through your skin the whole time, and you barely feel it happening because the sweat isn't drying off the way it would in the desert. It just sits there, your body's working hard, and you don't even notice. So by 2, 3 in the afternoon, I was done, not tired. Done. Wiped out on the couch, a little dizzy when I stood up too fast and cranky as an old dog. My wife would ask me a simple question and I'd snap at her over nothing. That wasn't me. That was the heat catching up. And that's the trap. That's the exact trap I want to steer you around. You treat tropical humidity like ordinary heat, like it's just a hotter version of a summer back home. And for a body our age, it wears you down faster than you'd ever guess. It's not that you're weak. It's that you're playing the wrong game with the wrong rules. Now, I could sit here and paint you a scary picture. I could tell you all the ways it can go sideways, but that's not what this porch is for, and honestly, that's not the point, because the point is this: it got better. It got so much better that today, 4 years on, the very same heat that flattened me that first week is the thing I look forward to every single morning. And I know exactly how that sounds. You're sitting there thinking, come on now, you just spent 5 minutes telling me the humidity beat you up, and now you love it? How does a man go from soaked and dizzy and snapping at his wife to actually enjoying the warm, wet air? Well, that's the whole story. That's what flipped it. And it wasn't some expensive gadget, some fancy cooling vest they sell online. It wasn't me getting tougher or younger, because Lord knows neither of those was happening. It was something simpler than that. Almost too simple. It was one thing. One little change that touched every hour of my day, from the moment I woke up to the durian in the evening air. And I didn't figure it out on my own, I'll give you that. I learned it from a neighbor of mine, a retired school teacher from Ohio who'd been out here 10 years and had this all figured out long before I showed up sweating on her doorstep. So what actually turned it all around for me wasn't a gadget, and it wasn't toughing it out. It was one word she taught me, and it changed every single day out here. Rhythm. Rhythm. That one word from Diane, a retired teacher from Ohio who's been out here a decade, is what quietly saved me. She sat me down on her little balcony one morning, coffee in hand, and said it plain. You don't fight the tropical day out here. You flow with it. And the moment I started listening to her, everything got easier. Here's what she meant. Back home, most of us just push through the day whenever we feel like it. Errands at noon, a walk in the afternoon sun. We power through, like we always did. But in this warm, wet air, that's exactly what wears an older body down. If you've ever come home from errands so wiped out you had to lie down, this next part is for you, because the fix isn't strength, it's timing. So now I do the whole thing backwards from how I used to. I take my walk and my market run early, before 9, while the air still has a little cool left in it. That's the sweet spot. The neighborhood near Tiongbaru is just waking up then. The wet market stalls are setting out their greens, an old fellow is hosing down the pavement, and the light is soft and gold. I get my fruit, I say my hellos, I stretch my legs, and I'm back home before the heat even thinks about climbing. Then the schedule flips. The middle of the day, the part I used to waste fighting, now belongs to shade and cool air. That's it. I don't run around at noon anymore. Noon is for sitting, for resting, for letting the hottest hours pass by while I stay comfortable. And this is where Singapore quietly spoils you in ways you'd never guess from back home. Take the MRT. The trains here are cool and clean, and they cost next to nothing. On a sticky afternoon, I've been known to just hop on with no real place to be. I ride a few stops, the cold air washing over me, watching the city slide by the window, and I get off feeling brand new. A pleasant ride to nowhere in particular. Diane calls it her air-conditioned therapy, and honestly, she's not wrong. For a couple of coins, you get relief that would cost you a fortune to run at home all afternoon. And then there are the hawker centers. These are the open-air food halls where everybody eats, and they sit in the shade with big ceiling fans turning slow overhead. Picture it. Big fans turning, a cold drink in your hand, the heat waiting outside. That can be your Tuesday afternoon. For a few Singapore dollars, and I mean a few, you get a plate of chicken rice that's better than anything I paid 4 times as much for back in the States. The chicken is tender, the rice is fragrant, the chili sauce has a kick. You sit there with your cold drink, the fan stirring the air, and the worst of the day just passes you by outside. You're not enduring the heat anymore. You're waiting it out in the best seat in the house. Now that's the rhythm, but there's a handful of small things that make an even bigger difference for us older folks, and I learned every one of them the hard way. First, your clothes. Ditch anything tight or synthetic. That stuff traps the heat and sticks to you like plastic wrap. I switched to light, loose cotton and linen, and the difference was night and day. The air moves through it. You feel like you can breathe again. Second, water. And this one's important, so hear me out. Out here, you're losing water all day and you don't even feel it because the sweat just keeps coming. So I carry a refillable bottle and I sip from it all day long, not just when I'm thirsty. By the time you feel thirsty in this climate, you're already behind. A steady sip through the day keeps that afternoon dizziness from ever showing up. And third, 2 little habits I borrowed straight from the locals. I keep a small hand towel folded in my shirt pocket, the way you see people carry them here, for a quick dab at the forehead, and I never leave home without a compact umbrella by the door. Sun in the morning, a warm downpour by 4. That same umbrella handles both. None of this is fancy. It just works. Now, right about here, I want to mention something, and I'll keep it quick because I know why you're really watching. I ended up putting all of this into one little ebook, the daily heat rhythm, the hydration habits, the clothing, all of it in one place so you're not learning it the hard way like I did. And because I know that's not the only thing on your mind, I also put in a plain English walkthrough of the long-term stay route and the retiree forms, laid out simple, step by step. There's a link down in the description if you want it before you fly. No pressure at all. It's just everything I wish someone had handed me on day one, all in one spot. Because here's the truth. None of what I've told you is complicated. Not the early walks, not the cool MRT, not the cotton shirt or the water bottle or the towel in the pocket. It's just knowing before you go. That's the whole secret. You plan around the heat instead of against it, and suddenly the thing you dreaded turns manageable. But here's the part I really wish someone had told me before I flew. Because once you stop fighting the humidity, it stops taking from you and starts giving something back. And last week, eating durian in the warm evening air, I finally felt exactly what that means. There we were, a little folding table set up outside, one of those spiky durian fruits cracked open in the middle, and the warm evening air wrapping around all of us like a blanket. Diane was there, my neighbor, the retired teacher from Ohio who's been out here a decade and taught me half of what I know. and a Malay couple from my block, the kind of good people who wave every morning and always have a spare stool for you. We were sweating, all of us, and nobody cared one bit. Here's the funny thing. 10 years ago, back home, an evening like that would have had me miserable. Sticky shirt, damp forehead, wanting nothing more than to get inside and crank the air. But this time I just sat there, scooping up that soft, creamy durian with my fingers, laughing at some story Diane was telling, and I felt lighter than I had in years. Lighter. That's the word that kept coming to me. And if you've got stiff knees that ache every winter, I want you to hold on to this next part, because the thing that surprised me most wasn't the food or the company. It was my own body. My knees, which used to grind and complain every single gray winter back in the States, they felt loose that night. Easy. My shoulders, the ones that used to seize up the moment the temperature dropped, just relaxed. All that warm, heavy air I'd been fighting for weeks, it had been quietly working on me the whole time, soaking into the old joints like a warm compress you don't have to hold in place. That's the payoff. That's the thing I really wish someone had pulled me aside and told me before I ever got on that plane. Once you stop shoving against the humidity and start moving with it, the whole thing flips. The heat stops being the enemy that wears you down by 2 in the afternoon. It becomes a gift. Now every single morning I step out onto the porch, that soft, wet towel air settles over my shoulders, and instead of bracing against it, I sort of sink into it, like an old friend who shows up at the same time every day and pulls up a chair. That's the whole secret, folks. That's the do this instead. Not some gadget, not some trick, just a change of heart. You quit treating tropical warmth like ordinary heat. You build a little rhythm around it, and it hands back more than it ever takes. So let me say it plain because I think it matters. Don't underestimate this humidity. I'm not going to sit here and pretend it's nothing. Those first weeks it flattened me, and I know it can catch you off guard too. But underestimating it and being afraid of it are two different things. You don't need to fear it. You need to respect it. Plan your day around it the way I do now. The walking early, the market before 9, the shade and the cool MRT ride in the thick of the afternoon, the pocket hand towel, the water bottle you sip from all day long. Do the simple homework, and this climate turns from something you survive into something you actually look forward to. And think about what you're trading for it. I still remember the gray winters. Months of low, flat sky, the kind of cold that gets into your bones and just parks there, scraping ice off the windshield with numb fingers, counting the weeks till spring. I did that for most of my life, and I thought that was just how getting older felt. Stiff, slow, careful. Out here, that heaviness lifted. Not because Singapore is some magic place, though it is a beautiful one, all that tropical green climbing up between the skyscrapers, palms swaying while the city hums along clean and calm. It lifted because the warmth kept my body loose, and a loose body moves through the day differently. I walk more, I linger over dinner, I say yes to the evening durian instead of heading inside. There's a lightness to ordinary life here that I didn't know I was missing until I had it back. Now, I know how this sounds from where you're sitting. Moving to the other side of the world at our age, it feels enormous. Believe me, I felt every ounce of that weight 4 years ago, but I promise you, when you break it down into small, plain pieces, it gets a whole lot smaller. The heat, the visa route, the hydration habits, the little daily rhythm, none of it is complicated once somebody shows you how it actually works. It's the not knowing that makes it scary, and the not knowing goes away fast. And if you're sitting there thinking this could be you, it can, truly. I'm 70 years old. I'm no braver or tougher than you are. I just got tired of gray winters and decided to find out for myself, and I've never once regretted it. You don't have to rush. You don't have to have every answer today. Take your time, learn one piece at a time, and come into it with a smile instead of a knot in your stomach. That mindset alone will carry you further than you'd think. Because here's where it all lands for me. The very thing I dreaded most before I came, that thick, wet, heavy air I was so sure would beat me, is now the first thing that greets me when I open the door each morning. I pour my coffee. I step out onto the porch. The warmth wraps around my shoulders. My knees feel easy. The city's already alive down below, and I just stand there a minute and take it in. The heat that once wore me down now welcomes me every single day, like it's been waiting for me. And after 4 years, I still can't help but grin when it does. So pour yourself a coffee, wherever you are. Take your time with the idea. This life out here in the warm green quiet, it's more doable than you think, and it's waiting for you too.